Hey YouTube, I'm Will, and welcome to Superhero Sunday on the Movie Files. So, Daredevil Season 2 has dropped. Season 2 of Daredevil was released to Netflix on Friday, and I have spent the entire weekend watching the whole 13-episode season, and I have to say it was phenomenal. It really was fantastic. Overall, it was very good. It was completely everything that you would expect after having seen the first season. Now there are some things that were good, and there were some things that were bad, and there were some things that were fantastic. So let's just take a few minutes and just talk about this. Obviously, Daredevil last season spent the entire season wearing that homemade black ninja outfit up until the end. In the last episode where he finally got the traditional, or a version of the traditional red Daredevil costume with the horns on the mask and everything. This season, obviously, he has the costume through the whole thing. Now, as with last season, a lot of the lighting is very green and very yellow, and while that worked last season when he was in the all-black costume, a lot of the times, especially in the green lighting, it doesn't really work to highlight the red in the costume. In fact, it kind of just cancels out the red and makes the whole costume look solid black. Now, this isn't consistent through the whole thing. There are some episodes where the costume just looks fantastic and the red is just vibrant, and I mean, it looks glorious. It looks like Daredevil. A lot of the times this is under the more white lights instead of the green or the yellow lights, but I mean, I don't really have a problem with the costume. I just have a problem with the way they lit it in some episodes, and you miss the red. You get the red taken out of it, and I really like the red costume. I mean, it's Daredevil. Daredevil wears red. John Bernthal's Punisher is amazing. He is literally the best version of the Punisher we've had to date. Better than Dolph Lundgren, better than Ray Stevenson, and he was just fantastic. I know that a lot of people like to think of the Punisher 2004, Thomas Jane, as the definitive Punisher, even though they may not consider that movie all that great. A lot of people up until now have felt that Thomas Jane had played the best Punisher, and we're hoping to see him back, which didn't happen, obviously. Although he did do the short fan film Dirty Laundry, which was praised by fans because of his return to the character. John Bernthal really blows Thomas Jane out of the water. He just really does. John Bernthal, there are no heroic or redeeming qualities about the Punisher in this piece in Daredevil, and I like that because the Punisher shouldn't be a heroic character. He should not be a superhero. He's a cold-blooded killer. He goes out, he murders people, bad guys, obviously, but he murders them without due process, without any kind of respect for their constitutional rights. I mean, he just doesn't care. He just goes out, he's judge, he's jury, he's executioner. And in our society, in a civilized society, we're not supposed to condone that behavior. Obviously, there are parts of us, we are animals, we are people, we are human beings, and there are big parts of us that just want to be like, yeah, gut that rapist, whatever. And that is the side of ourselves that the Punisher taps into and appeals to. But that's not something we're supposed to be proud of. And I like that that they make the Punisher is, rooting for the Punisher is not something that you want to be proud of. It's definitely something that you do, but it's definitely not something that you want to be proud of. And he's got, they don't try to pretend that he's a superhero with different methods. He's very much, a bad character. He's an evil character. He's portrayed as being mentally ill. And disturbed, which, I mean, the Punisher has to be. He just has to be. The character is wholly unlikable, and ironically enough, I like that. And I think you're meant to. you're meant to hate him, but you're meant to love that you hate him. And yeah, he's fantastic. Now, I did have a problem, and a part of me knew that I would, even though I wanted to give her a fair chance. I had a big problem with Elodie Young's Elektra. And my problem was not with the way the character was characterized, not with the way she was really portrayed. She was an interesting character. She was a fun character. She was a great character to have in the show, but she just wasn't Elektra. She just wasn't. And now, I know that a lot of people are going to disagree with me because in a lot of ways she was portrayed very close to Elektra. She was very much more closer to Elektra than Jennifer Garner ever hoped to be. But the actress that plays her, Elodie Young, is Chinese. Well, she's Cambodian. I'm sorry, but she's Asian and she's half French. Okay, but she has a very Asian accent, and she has a very Asian look, and it shows. It really does. There are a lot of pictures of her online where her French side does tend to show up a little bit more, and I thought that that maybe they would shoot her in a way where she could pass as Greek. She doesn't pass as Greek at all. And that's unfortunately that's disappointing because Elektra Natchios is a very Greek name. She's a very Greek character, and I just felt like by casting Elodie Young that they just basically said, we don't care if it makes sense. This is what we want to do. And if you know about Elektra and about her hand story, her backstory, the reason why she was so useful to the hand was specifically because she wasn't Asian. She could get into places where they couldn't because she was European. And you lose that here. And she's just some, Chinese girl that was trained by Stick to be a badass assassin. And she's absolutely badass. I mean, I love this character. She's just, for me, she wasn't Elektra. Scott Glenn has much more of an expanded role as Stick from season 1. And that's welcome because Scott Glenn was amazing in the one episode that he got last year. And he's got 3 or 4 episodes this year. And he just does a phenomenal role. Another character that you really love to hate. Stick, you just want to jab a pin in his eye. And that's just so fun. And that makes for such a great character. We do get a return of the Kingpin. I won't say what episode or in what capacity, but the Kingpin does return, and it is extremely welcome. It is, I never thought in 2003 that anybody could have ever done a better job with the Kingpin than Michael Clarke Duncan. Michael Clarke Duncan in the Daredevil film was just fantastic as the Kingpin, but Vincent D'Onofrio is just so much better. I mean, the characters are just so completely different, and Vincent D'Onofrio just blows it away. And he brings it for his very small supporting role this year, the same that he did last year as the main villain. Now, if there's anybody out there that was disappointed, I was. So if there's anybody else out there that was disappointed last year with the fact that they never touched on any kind of romantic relationship between Matt Murdock and Karen Page, rest assured you get that in season 2. You do get a little bit, and you do get some romance there, and that's very welcome. I loved Elektra's costume, even though I wasn't a big fan of the character, and more so was even the actress that played the character, because she, like I said, she was written well. I just can't get over the fact that she's Asian when she shouldn't be, and maybe that's my stumbling block. Whatever it is, she's Elektra. We have to deal with it. That's who we have. But her costume was great. I really loved her costume. I loved that it was mostly black with a little bit of red. I loved that it was. It called back to the comic book costume without actually being the comic book costume. and it was wonderful. My only other real criticism of this movie is really that there really was no villain. I expected it to be, that the Punisher was going to be tracking some mob boss, and then Daredevil was going to disapprove of Punisher's methods, and they were going to tussle. And then at the end, Daredevil was going to be forced reluctantly to help Frank take down this mob, character that he's been following through the whole movie, and that doesn't happen. That just doesn't happen. You don't get that. There's no real villain. That Frank's got his people that he's going after and he's killing them, but there's at no point. The thing with this season 2 is that it's really a bunch of random events that just sort of happen. So in that sense, it's a little bit more serialized than the first season, but it's still. It still plays. There's a lot of running subplots. It still plays as one long, continuous 13-hour movie, but it's almost more like little 4 or 3 episode story arcs, and that's great. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But it's just, I don't know. It's just last year you had the Kingpin. They set him up through the whole season. It led up to this big final battle, and you don't really have that this year. And so that was, I don't know that it lowers the quality of the show, of the season, of the story as a whole, but it definitely was a jarring change. It definitely was a noticeable difference from the last year. But overall, Daredevil season 1 was amazing. Daredevil season 2 is just as amazing. It does have its flaws, but the good things totally make up for that. I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to season 3. I would love to see the Kingpin brought back as more of a main character again, even though I don't want to see him used as the only villain. I don't want to see him end up being Daredevil's Lex Luthor or Daredevil's Magneto, where all they ever do is do Kingpin. But I would really love to see them adapt the Born Again storyline. And it would really work well on this show, and especially when you see the things that they do with some of the characters, you could absolutely say, you know what, Born Again would definitely fit. And again, this is very Frank Miller. This is a very Frank Miller version of Daredevil. And so it was fantastic. I loved it. It's definitely a 3.5 out of 4. For me, I thought it was fantastic, and I will definitely watch it again, maybe soon. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thanks for listening, and have a nice day. Hi everyone. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, subscribe, follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and make sure you head on over to TheBlaze and check out my weekly column where I do movie reviews and general Hollywood industry commentary. You can find the links for all those things in the description below. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.